How disappointed are you with them, and have you talked to all your guys back in Vegas about avoiding, banned substances so they stay clean?
Well, let me clear the air on this. Mickey Bay, a doctor gave him something. A doctor gave him something, and the doctor admitted to making a mistake by giving him something. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was sick at a particular time, and the doctor gave him something. So that's cleared up, for the record. And with Jalen Love, he had problems making weight, which I feel that's showing a sign of not being disciplined and dedicating yourself like a true champion. So I had to talk with him like that. So he got in trouble for a shot. He thought it was a lot larger than what it really was, and I think the fight was a lot closer than what they had. Because I feel like I feel like Trout was the busier fighter, and I feel like Canelo was landing the bigger shots.
Do you think that open scoring sort of screwed him up too? I mean, they were announcing the scoring that day. Or at least telling his corner what the score
I feel like
a few rounds.
like I said before, we need to clean the sport up. I wasn't impressed like the other day with the Paulie and Broner. When they talk about a split decision, it wasn't right. I'm saying from what I see. I can go by from what I see. I guess from what everybody else see, they have a different vision, and I can't see. Like I like Paul, but I can't see how he was getting upset. And once again, what I don't want these fighters doing is pointing fingers at Richard Schaefer or pointing fingers at Al Haymon. Go to the boxing gym and do your job. The results is what they're going to be.
Floyd, why is it so important to you to clean up boxing? I mean, you've established yourself as the main man. You can make all your money and go on, but you seem to be really concerned about the sanctioning bonds, etc.
I mean, because I feel like, in a business-wise, you say, okay, I get a sanctioning fee from Trout, I get a sanctioning fee from Mayweather, and I get a sanctioning fee from Canelo. It's not right. I don't mind paying my sanctioning fees like any other fighter. If I'm the champion, all this super champion stuff, I'm totally against it. I honestly feel that Canelo is the WBC champion, Floyd Mayweather is the WBA champion, I'm also the WBC champion at welterweight. Fair is fair, and he done his job against Trout, like I said before. I thought the fight was a lot closer, but as far as, like I said before, enhanced, steroids and enhancement drugs, we need to clean that up. We need to clean these judges and the scoring up. And like I said before, a lot of things we need to clean up in the sport. And
Do you think that'll make it more popular? Do you think that brings it back into the mainstream, back into the focus?
I think that, but one thing about Showtime, they're very, very positive. Whereas you got the commentators on the other side where you got fighters fighting that's representing the company and they talking negative about the fighter. So the only thing that can do is bring the sport down.
Well, do you think that the judges are dishonest or incompetent or both?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of favoritism sometimes. I'm saying, far as with if you got a fighter that's from, we're gonna say just Kansas City, and you got a judge that's from Kansas. Of course, I think he's gonna lean a little bit towards the guy. The reason why is because it's not like this. Sometimes you got parents, and I talk about this all the time. See, me, I'm a little different from a lot of parents. If my child is in the wrong, I'm gonna tell my child you're in the wrong. Whereas a lot of times, if a person's child is in the wrong, and you tell them your child is in the wrong, they don't like you to tell them that their child is in the wrong. And it's no different. It's kind of like favoritism, because a lot of times people don't feel like their child can do anything wrong until they get in the system. Find out, my child was wrong.
You and
mean, everybody here knows that you are the face of boxing. You're the man of boxing. And you talk about you don't get your due. How much similar to Ali is that, you think, because of your personality, your religious beliefs, jealousy, you're African American? You know, why can't you get your due?
I think just, a lot of times I think people feel like a person is, I'm humble because I know where my blessings come from when it's all said and done. You know. Humble has nothing to do with because the fighter is quiet. I think a lot of times fighters don't really want to say fighters don't speak up and say what they really want to say because they know they're not going to really take a bad lashing from the outcome if they really don't say too much before the fight. Whereas if a guy talks, if he speaks out and speak his honest opinion, give his honest opinion, there's going to be a lot of backlash if he take an L.
Floyd, the last time you fought an undefeated fighter was Ricky Hatton. So, what challenges do you get from fighting a fighter who's never tasted defeat, or is hungrier than most?
I just feel like the thing with Floyd Mayweather is really not what a guy record is, because if you really want to talk about it, Guerrero went back. He had a loss, but he went back and beat the guy, so we can say he was undefeated. So I don't really go in there looking at a guy record, because me myself, I can adapt and I can make adjustments. And so I feel like whatever a guy, whatever the best thing my opponent brings to the table, I feel like I can do it better.
Well, you've had a chance to watch the Guerrero fight?
No, I've seen it a couple times. I could be better.
Champ,
You say you can be better? It was one of your best performances. What areas can you be better for this?
I know me, I'm my biggest critic.
All right, so
It's always room for improvement. I would never tell you where I think I could be better at. I would never get that secret out.
Champ, you never fought in Madison Square Garden. Is that something you would eventually like to do?
As of right now, we take one day at a time. I'm with the MGM, as of right now, and we don't know what the future holds. But like I said before, we take one step at a time. It has always been one of my ultimate goals is to fight at the Madison Square Garden. Of course, I want to.
If I said you were in the same company as Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, what would your comment be about that?
Say it again?
What would you say if I said to you that I see you as being part of a same company, same level as Ray Robinson, Ali, and Leonard? What do you say about that?
I just say, I'm thankful to be mentioned amongst those great fighters.
In terms of style and everything, in many respects.
I mean, I feel like in the sport, just when I look at the sport, and I sit back and analyze the sport. I say, okay, I see Ali, and he done the rope with dope, but then, I say, man, I be like, I wish Ali could be in a better predicament at this particular time. So, of course, I can joke with him and have fun with him. And, Sugar Ray Leonard got detached retina. So, you just look at a lot of abuse that these fighters have took. And I don't want to be in that same position taking that type of punishment. But Sugar Ray Leonard is still very articulate, and he's a legend. And Ali's a legend too. And I never really, of course, I seen the picture of Sugar Ray Robinson and my Uncle Roger, and the picture of Sugar Ray Robinson and my father, which when I was a kid, I didn't really know too much about Sugar Ray Robinson, because in my era, when I was coming up, it was Larry Holmes and Michael Dokes and of course Pernell Whitaker, and the list goes on and on. Because I can remember I can go so far back, the first fight I ever seen die in the ring was Dooku Kim against Ray Boom Mancini in Caesar's Palace outside. So I'm a student of the sport. I was a student of the sport, but it's not like it was, like now, like it was back then.
Floyd, in fights past, you might have spent 50% of a press gathering like this talking about Pacquiao that you ever fight. Are you glad that, are you relieved that this is not talked about anymore? Are you disappointed that it's not on the table really anymore?
You know, like I said before, at this particular time, my focus is Canelo. You know, any fighter, you know, I guess, you guys built Pacquiao up to this level and said that he was better than Floyd. That's what you guys did. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pointing no particular finger out at, and I said, you know, like I said before, I stay in my lane, and you know, and I'm pretty sure Pacquiao's gonna stay in his lane.
How do you rate Canelo as a power puncher?
I don't know. I never been hit by Canelo.
Floyd, who will you be sparring with to get ready for this fight?
We don't know, you know, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some solid guys. We always try to, you know, have guys that's solid and can push me to the limit.
There's a rematch clause in the contract, yes?
I'm not here to talk about no rematch. We ain't even got the first fight out the way yet.
Do you ever feel fear?
I mean, not in boxing, but of course, you know, of course, you know, a fear like when a woman is pregnant with your child, you're like, you know what? No, it's not funny. It's just real. It's nothing. I'm not joking right now. You feel fear because you want to make sure your child come out healthy. So that's the fear. I mean, you feel like, man, hopefully there's no problem with the woman or there's no problem with your child. So have I had fear? Absolutely.
When your opponent,
Or do I fear, you know, if my mother's sick, she's sick, of course, you know, I'm nervous, like, man, I fear, you know, something can happen to her extremely quick. So of course, I'm only a human being. I got feelings like everybody else. But as far as boxing, absolutely not.
well, you've got this long press tour. I think the last one was with Oscar. And during that tour, you used it to sort of get in his head a lot. How do you do that with a fighter that speaks primarily just Spanish?
I can't, I mean, like I said before, he speaks Spanish. I can't, a lot of times, you know, we just done a commercial, we shot a commercial in LA. And they was like, well, why you not trash talking? I mean, he's not going to know what I'm talking about, no.
What do you think he's going to bring to the table against you?
I can't say what he brings to the table, but we'll just have to see. If I tell you what he brings to the table, you won't pay to see it. Yeah, but Canelo's, he's a young champion. He's a young champion. And incredible, you know, incredible young guy. Yeah, the only thing I can do is, like I said before, go to camp, you know, talk with my father, prepare myself. And like I said before, I never worry about anything, never. Just relax, go out there and stay focused. And like I always say, you know, when you face a Floyd Mayweather, you just can't make no mistakes. You know, if you make any mistakes, you must pay.
What'd you think of Heat winning the champ?
And you go back and look at what I said when LeBron James was the free agent. He's allowed. I mean, I feel like he was a free agent too. And when you're free, you're able to go where you want to go. And when he got a lot of backlash and people talked about him, I was one of the only guys that stood up for him. Told him, you know, and there's no different from my situation. I've been free to. I was free to go where I wanted to go. And I believe in longevity, and I got to think about, you know, boxing. I got to think about my career after boxing is over. So I think about my 4 beautiful children. So Floyd Mayweather is always going to put himself. Y'all got quiet. Hey, Kelly, got to quiet it down back there. Floyd Mayweather is always going to put himself in the best position.
Yeah. You guys go really fast. You guys figure out your pointers. Así es,